Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. It's time for another edition of the Baseball Talk Radio Show. Something's getting a little sticky around here, and the umps are finally starting to check it out. And that great old age debate, is it the Jimmy or is it a sprinkle? All on this program, the Baseball Talk Radio Show with Rich Baxter and Gary Mack.
Hello again, everybody, and welcome back to a special edition, not really special, but a post-Father's Day edition of the Baseball Talk Radio Show. I'm Gary Mack.
Hello, Mr. Gary Mack. Yeah, it's a special edition today. I love that intro music on the YouTube channel. We're rocking and rolling. Had some nice sounds going on there.
Yeah, well, trying different things, Rich, to pep it up a little bit. I kind of like the old music, but this is a little bit more peppier, so we'll see how the folks react. So see what happens there. But Rich, it was kind of no major big stories. I guess coming out of MLB this week. I mean, we had the pitchers beginning to get checked for substances, sticky substances, and it seemed like every time they came off of the mound, they were taking off their hat and handing over their glove and undoing their belt. A couple of the pitches went a little too far. Sergio Romo dropped his pants, as I guess a protest. Max Scherzer was ticked off. But you know what? Just it was coming, so just go with the flow.
Yeah, I remember the first day that they started doing that. The Phillies were playing the Nationals. Max Scherzer was on the mound, and he's always been one of those guys that was mentioned in, the possible use of those substances. So it was interesting to see that Phillies manager Joe Girardi actually made a point to point out certain things about Scherzer. They went back and forth. Washington, not a fan of Girardi, kind of blew up. But I think they went a little bit too far with this. It was almost like some people were talking about the TSA, going through the TSA on the mound, and, a rule is a rule, but probable cause should probably be at play as well.
Well, I think they want to keep it fair for everybody. If they do it to one, they want to do it to everybody, and as long as they do it to everybody, I'm okay with it. I mean, DeGrom came off. He laughed the first time. He laughed at the umpire and said, I mean, he handed him his glove. He was okay with it. In other words, he wasn't all upset. He even offered to give him he didn't know what to do with his belt. He wanted me to undo it. He wanted me to take it off. And then they all laughed. The umpires laughed too. But, Major League Baseball wants to crack down on this. And what's next? Cord out baseball bats? Will they be checking those? I don't know how. But, the fans get angry when it's their hometown team and the pitchers got to get checked. And the other, and they're happy when the other team pitcher gets checked. So I think they wanted to keep it fair. So that's why they do it to everybody. But I thought Scherzer's attitude and Ramos was a little ridiculous. You knew it was coming. Just do it. Let them check you and get it over with.
Yeah, and some pitchers you can have a sort of a mandate that they should have that sticky stuff on their hand because they can't control a ball. You know, if
Yeah.
they're throwing it at 100 miles an hour at you, I'm thinking you want it to be under control somewhat. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
You want to know where it's going to go.
And before we get too far into this podcast, I wanted to thank the guys from Baseball and Barbecue, of course, for having us on, a round table with them. And next time we have them on, Gary, we got to talk more food. We got to get to the nitty gritty of, barbecue chicken, ribs, that sort of stuff.
Brisket. Yeah.
We went off on a tangent there, and we didn't get our money's worth as far as our food. I needed that. I just broke the barbecue grill out yesterday, as a matter of fact.
Oh, okay.
Like, oh man, I was wishing for those tips because, with all those great guests that they've lined up over the time that they've been doing their podcast, I'm sure they have some great tips as far as, making them ribs nice and tender if you like them, fall off the bone. I'm starting to get a little hungry too.
Yeah, I'm with you. What we have to do is maybe when COVID settles, we have to meet somewhere and do a big podcast with food.
Yeah. I'm sure, we could make that happen without a problem.
Yeah, thanks to those guys, though. They're great guys. And Rich, you're 100% right. They get some great guests, top people. What's interesting is they get really good guests for baseball, but they get some of the top people in the world of barbecue, and we may not know their names looking at it, but when you listen to them, we're talking about best-selling authors and guys that are running companies and guys that are creating all of this good stuff we like to eat. And they had a guy on one time, the name escapes me, and I'm going, oh, I eat that sauce. He created this sauce or something. So these guys, they're terrific guys. They know their baseball and they know their barbecue. So as you said, thank you to them for coming on. And we'll have to do it again in the future. It was a lot of fun.
Yes, indeed. And I had a young man that's in the family. James, his name is, and he's got a YouTube channel. I want to give him a shout out because he said he would give us one. Jamer is his name, Jamer. He does some video game reviews, talks about him. He's got 2,000 subscribers. So when he comes over to the house, I try to get some tips from the young crowd. He's like 15 years old, so he knows these things. I gave him a Logitech camera to have and, further his channel a lot. So in exchange for some tips for us, Gary, I thought it was a fair exchange.
That sounds good to me. Sure. Get those young kids. He's got to get his young friends to listen to the show too.
Yeah.
And subscribe.
The baseball fans. We need more of them, of course.
Yes.
And, we're starting to get into the nitty gritty part of the season here. It's not very young anymore. We're heading towards that July 4th holiday, and a lot of things happen around that time. We start talking some hot stove action, some possible trades, who's better, who's best so far. And one of the topics on MLB.com this week was each team's surprising player. And every year on our own favorite teams, you like the Mets, I like the Phillies, we get that surprise player. Has anybody stuck out for you as being a surprise player from the Mets?
I'm trying to think. There may have been a couple, only because with all the injuries, the usual names, have been out a lot. I think, other than, of course, the obvious is Jacob deGrom, but he's not really a surprise. We know what he can do. Jonathan Villar has been a big surprise at third base. He's now on the injured list, but he came through big. And Kevin Pillar, the Villar and the R boys, Um, both of them have come through, in the midst of the Mets injuries, and really kept this team in first place. They called them the bench mob because it was, guy Jose Peraza was playing some second base and he was getting some big hits. Now you look at their numbers and none of them are out, like glaringly all-star-ish, but they got big hits at big times during the stretch, and now the Mets are starting to get some of the regulars back. Uh, you know, um, it's going to be a little different, but I would say those two guys were probably the two biggest surprises. I'm trying to think if anybody else really stands out. It's been such um, a different year, crazy year because of all the injuries and the players that they've shuttled in and out the Mets. That the bench has been really, I guess, the surprise players with the with all that's went on. How about the Phillies?
Yeah, with the Phils, I'm sort of the same as you. I can't really put my finger on any one player. McCutchen has stepped up at different times, and his batting average is still bad. But like you said, you know, they're not carrying the team, but they come through with some timely hits now and again, and that's what a ball club needs to win. If the Phillies could only get a usable bullpen, I would
Yeah,
say,
bullpens.
we might have a
Thank,
chance, but
thank goodness.
and if you watch the series this weekend, if you're a fan of either team, you'll know what we mean by that. But just browsing through a couple names in the league, over in the Cubs, MLB says the surprise players, Craig Kimbrell, the closer. Actually having Kimbrell actually be better than he was in Atlanta has to be near the top. So I haven't watched him close too many games for the Cubs yet, but he's still got that, and I can't do this with my non-green screen, but he makes a funny type of move on the mound before he delivers a pitch. But believe it or not, they're talking about Albert Pujols in LA as being a surprise player. And I don't know if you could term him a surprise player. He's a guy that, is going to make waves wherever he is. But they list him as a surprise player.
Well, I think he's played much better since he's gotten to LA. He is really seemed to be revitalized, and I think that's what they meant. The Angels, he was struggling. They let him go. The Dodgers picked him up, and he really has performed there, and playing first base again too, playing a lot of first base, and has performed well in a different type of role. He's not an everyday player, but he's played, I think, more than they expected to use him, and has come through with some big hits. So I guess that's what they mean. As far as the Cubs go, you said Kimbrel. I think Bryant too is having a resurgence. So I don't know if that counts really as a surprise, or how you want to. But Bryant in a walk year, I might add, excuse me, is having a good season.
Yeah, I'm so happy to see that for him. I've been a fan of his over the past several years, and rumor had it that the Cubs wanted to deal him, may still want to deal him, but he's going to end up somewhere, and I wouldn't mind him being on the Phillies. I'm sure you would like him on the Mets.
Yeah, we would. And you've got a couple of good young third basemen. Now you've got Bohm and Miller, I think the other guy's name was. And they look pretty. I mean, they struggle at times, but they're young, so who knows? They can put it together. And get it going. Who else we got on the list of the interest?
Down the coast in California, we have Tommy Pham for the San Diego Padres. Of course, they're loaded up with talent with the Fernando Tatis. He's on every highlight video that you can watch.
Yeah, that's for sure.
So, yeah, Tommy Pham, he's one of those players that you might not hear about him until he comes to your town and plays against your team, and then you'll hear about him. But good ball player all around. So that's another one. But some other guys having great seasons as well. And we're creeping up towards the All-Star game. I don't know that I want to watch it though this year. How about you?
No, I'm in protest to the move from Atlanta to Colorado. I think it was a cheap shot move for no particular reason. We know the reason. It's all political, but I think it was a poor move by Major League Baseball. I think it was a chicken move by Major League Baseball, and I have no interest in it at all. Didn't even look at. I got an email from MLB, about the uniforms and all this. Didn't even look at them this year.
Well, I'll tell you, I did look at that email or an article about it, and the uniforms are god awful. If anything, we're just
going to have them.
Yeah, we're going to have to talk about them. Maybe not on this show, but the next show possibly, or closer to the All-Star game, because they're an abomination. They're uniforms that we didn't. Now
you're making me want to.
They're uniforms that we never wanted to see a baseball player wear. Let's just say, looks like and I don't mean any disrespect, a cricket uniform or, something I can't even describe. That
now I gotta go find that email, Rich.
Yeah. Maybe it'll prove me wrong, but I'm wearing this logoed shirt today, and they happen to have the contract for MLB for the uniforms, and they want to put this little swish thing on everything, make it so in your face type of thing. And I apologize for wearing it on the show, but the only reason I really like these shirts is they're nice and soft.
Yeah.
So I know I've said in the past I won't wear them, but I caved in. They're so soft, they're so nice in summer, and I don't like advertising for them because I'm not a big proponent of that company, but I do like the softness of the shirt.
Now, you've talked me into to looking at this. The hats are not bad.
Yeah, the hats work
because they're okay.
They're new era made them up, but
yeah. Now these uniform, and did they ever wear? When did they wear these? Did they wear these working out and in the home run derby? Because in the game themselves, they usually wear their own jerseys, right? Their home and away regular team jerseys.
Yeah, but I think this year they'll probably be wearing these. And I'll put one up on the screen here for our YouTube.
Oh, they're horrible.
Our voluminous amount of YouTube listeners here, watchers. Yeah, they
are god awful.
They're quite, quite interesting.
They're quite ugly.
Yes. So,
oh my God, what were they thinking?
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of like, I don't know, soccer meets.
Wow, I don't even know how you.
The only thing I do like are the side patches, the All-Star game patch on the right side, flag on the right. You could move this to the back, the swoosh. I don't need. Doesn't need to be.
I don't see why. Baseball should have forced them to put that on the sleeve.
But believe it
Majestic
or
had
yeah,
Majestic had it on the sleeve. Um, every other company put it on a sleeve. I think it looks stupid in the front. It just takes away from the game. I mean, I'm not against advertising, but put it on the sleeve. You don't need to be front and center with it.
yep. But look at this. I mean, here's Atlanta's listing on Fanatics. It's almost sold out. You have no extra large, no 2XL, 3XL, 4XL. So maybe it accomplished that. Not available, or maybe they didn't make many. I don't know. But
I
this
know,
is
yeah.
this is a replica jersey. Let's go over to the Mets. We'll see if we can pull one of them up for New York fans. And let's see where we can find it here. Of course, they're not. Here's a T-shirt that sort of
Yeah, sort of
echoes that.
looks like it.
And the Colorado patch and all. It just,
Ugly.
but apparently they're selling. So
Now I'm a big believer that they should have an all-star game uniform. But I would make it like, one would say national across the front, and the other one would say American, and just change. It would be one would be red, one would be blue, and it would change a little style every year. But this is just dog ugly.
yeah, I mean, look at the two buttons up top.
Oh God, that's terrible. That's
Won't it be
what is what is the blue stuff on the sleeves? What is that? Flowers?
It's, I believe, it almost looks like camouflage in a certain respect.
Oh yeah, I guess you could see, but what is the point behind it?
I guess, July 4th, the flag, the blue camo look. They're, they're reaching with this. It'd be interesting to see if the jerseys have more than two buttons when the players will wear them. So we'll have to wait for that. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's been interesting. So that's
Now
what
the
we're
hats,
looking for.
I will say that the hats are what they calling the on-field hat. It's essentially a black hat, I guess, for everybody, red letters, and there's a star behind it. And that's okay.
Yeah. At 139, the replica jersey is within reach, but I'm going to put it back up on the screen here for a second. I'm going to show you the real deal, not the replica. And apparently it will only have the two buttons. $399.99
That's
on an
crazy.
authentic. But as you can
Crazy.
see, here's San Francisco's page. There's one size left. So I don't know.
People suckers for anything, I guess.
Maybe they're getting snapped up by the people that like these alternate uniforms or whatever, but
Could be.
they're definitely
And
selling.
there was no game last year. People haven't been going to games. Now they're going to games. Maybe they're just so hungry for this kind of stuff that they're buying whatever comes out now and going with it. I won't be making any purchases along those lines. However,
Yep. I almost took the plunge this weekend. Talked to a buddy of mine who happens to be a Mets fan that I work with, and I said to him, "Hey, how about going up to Citi Field for Sunday's game here? They had some availability in a place called the Hyundai Club, so included the
Oh,
food and the goodies. But unfortunately, my good buddy couldn't make it, so I figured, oh well, maybe my streak and my promise to not go to a game will come true.
the Hyundai Club, huh?
Yeah, they had some nice tickets
Nice.
that were, in my eyes, nicely priced for the venue and what you get.
Mhm.
But yeah, maybe another day.
Yeah, maybe another time. I don't know. I'm still on the fence, really, uh, about going, being, with the COVID and the age and all of that. So I don't know if I'll get to the ballpark this year. I'm kind of getting the itch to go, but um,
Yeah, you
don't
do
know.
you do get packed in tightly with a lot of different people. So it would be a nice test of you know, staying healthy, so to speak,
Mhm.
and maybe a risk that not a lot of people really want to undertake.
And the funny thing is, you never knew in the past either. You know what I mean? You could have been next to somebody with typhoid, and you never thought twice about it, really. And now you think about everything like that, and it's kind of a shame in a way. It's more loss of innocence, if you will, for us. But you know, uh, you know the story and at home, so I don't want to push anything quite yet, and um,
That's true.
cause
I'm with you.
any issues. I don't want to get sick or anything. So over a ball game, you can watch it at home, and it's just as comfortable. I just get I get mad when it's silly. But when they're always talking about the diehard fans and the people at the ballpark, well, no, there's plenty of diehard fans that watch at home too that that maybe physically can't get to a ballpark, and to me, it kind of insults. I remember a couple of times in extra inning games, and they'll say, "Oh, the diehard fans are still at the ballpark." No, the diehard fans are still watching too.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the announcers have nobody to talk to.
Yeah.
You should acknowledge that, and to all you diehard people at home sticking with us. You know,
Sure.
um, it's silly, but it's just one of my peeves that I get annoyed at because I take my mother was 80 something years old. She couldn't go to a ball game anymore. She just couldn't wasn't physically able, but she would watch every game. So is she not a diehard fan? Uh, you know, so I don't
Yeah.
know. That's just me. But what do you got? What else you got, Rich?
Well, we always like talking about food. We'll be talking about that a little later
Oh, of course.
in the program. But, just basically, since there wasn't much news this week, um, first time since April, the Arizona Diamondbacks won a game on the road. And if you can believe this,
Wow.
I don't follow them every day, but I've seen they've been losing a lot. They were on a
Wow.
24 game away losing streak. That's incredible.
That's geez, that's bad.
Yeah, they finally broke that streak against the Padres, believe it or not, in San Diego Saturday night, Petco Park, snapping a 24 game record, mind you, losing streak on the road. So you think your team's playing bad? Take a look at the Arizona Diamondbacks.
Yeah, that's a good comparison right there. They're just having a terrible year. They just can't get on track at all. And I had a big night offensively last night. I think last I saw it, I think it was the eighth inning. I think it was 10-0, and I don't know what the final was because I dozed off. But it was late. I think it was like 1:30. They were still playing. So, but MLB had it on last night. So, congratulations to them on breaking that record
Yeah, thank goodness.
or ending that
ending
streak. Yeah,
ending that
ending the record.
they did establish a record. It probably won't be broken in a long time. It's probably pretty hard to do that this day and age. 24 games in a row. You got to be, snake bitten, terrible, a combination of things to have
Yeah.
that happen.
Yeah, that's for sure. I mean, you figure you're going to get one game at least on the road where you get a break, but they're not a good ball team right now, and it, you know you hate to see a team struggle that mightily. I don't mind them struggling a little bit, but especially when they're out of my division, you know I don't mind them struggling in my division, but not in another division.
That's
Unless
true.
it's the Cardinals. I'm not a Cardinals fan, so Cardinals can struggle all they want.
Yeah,
That's
and
all I'll say.
the flip side to that is the legal gambling that's been established across the country now in different states. Um, you probably had a bunch of people jumping on that losing streak and taking the other team when the
Yeah.
Diamondbacks are on the road. It's amazing.
But I think the law of averages would tell you that it's got to end sometime.
Sure, sure. And it's not easy any particular game to really predict a team at all. But I'm sure there's probably people out there that may have made a lot of money on that losing streak along the way.
I'm sure there was a lot of money in sports again, and a lot of cash flying around there, Rich.
Yes, it is. Grab the cash. MLB is embracing all these things that, years ago we would have probably said would never happen.
And it's all happening, and it's you know I don't know whose fault it is. It's all business now, and you really see that. And but Rich, one thing that we didn't discuss before, and I it just popped into my head that we don't have to discuss it today's show, but if they're going to keep these 7-inning double headers, Major League Baseball, they're really going to have to sit down and think out some of these rules. I'm talking about the no hit rule. They have to change that if they're going to keep these 7-inning double headers. And I think another rule they seriously have to consider changing is the length that a starting pitcher, has to go to be credited with a win. It's not fair that you have to go 5 innings for both a 9-inning game and a 7-inning game. If you're going to cut the game down, then cut it down to 4 innings for a pitcher to get a win. A couple of guys got cheated out of wins because they went 4 innings, 4 1/3, 4 2/3, and they didn't get credit for a win because they didn't go 5, and it was a 7-inning game. Well, the whole strategy of baseball changes when you have a short game like that. The 5th inning or the 4th inning becomes the 6th inning or 7th inning. So I think in essence they have to look at these rules, and we could discuss that in another time. But it was in my head, and I wanted to get it out. And I don't know your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I just agree with that. The second base, starting a guy on second base in extra innings irks me. And that sticks to my craw right away. But yeah, like you said, they need to do a more thorough job of reviewing this and giving an equal chance of both teams, make the fans happy, more or less. I mean, they're doing this all now to do things to make the MLB happy. What about us?
That's it. I don't know, but believe it or not, that second base thing. Well, I don't know what the latest numbers was, but when they tried it a couple of years ago, they started in minor league baseball, and I saw one poll, and people loved it, and a lot of people said, "I don't want to sit there all night." This way at least it the extra innings, hopefully moves it along faster, that somebody gets a hit and they get a run and the game's over. You don't have these long 18, 20 inning games. I personally figure I don't like it. I'm with you. I don't like it, but it seems like a lot of the majority of people like it.
Yeah, well, I can't understand why, but because it gives whatever team's coming up to bat first I don't know what the percentages are. I haven't read them yet, or if they could even figure that out, but it's got to be a huge percentage of chance to win that game. It would be like a hockey game ending in a tie. And if you're a hockey fan, they do end in ties, but they have an overtime period, which goes a certain amount of time. And baseball sort of took that away when you have a runner at second starting with that, in my opinion. But, we'll have to discuss that as well as time goes on.
Maybe what they should have done is they should have went to like 12 innings or something, and then put the guy on second, something like that. So at least you have a chance in what we would a normal extra inning game. You'd have a little bit of a chance. I don't know, but I know I was shocked when I read that people actually liked it. Not something I would go for, but there's no accounting for taste, Rich.
We'll discuss that as the season goes on, I'm sure. And you have a tasty baseball bar park food item to bring up, I believe.
Wow. Rich, there's always a debate about Jimmy's versus sprinkles. And it's very important in the eastern part of the United States. And they're going to settle what it should be called, Jimmy's or sprinkles, when the Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs will take the field as the Lehigh Valley Jimmies. So they came on the field of Jimmy's over sprinkles. Personally, I've always, considered them as sprinkles, those little how do you describe it? Little candies, hardened candies that we all love on ice cream and brownies and whipped cream and all that kind of nice stuff. But the Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs are going to be they've come down on the side of Jimmy's, and they're going to be the Lehigh Valley Jimmies. It's part of their Salute to Philadelphia Day on Sunday, July 11th, when they play the Worcester Red Sox. And it's going to offer all kinds of related Philadelphia things, such as cheesesteaks, pretzels, water ice, and all of that's going to be there for the club's annual Salute to Philadelphia Day. In previous years, the popular promotion has wielded name changes to Steaks, the Whiz Kids, and John, while also featuring unique jerseys, including one made popular by the Philly Special Eagles Super Bowl play, as well as a throwback jersey collaboration with the Philadelphia 76ers. So there you see the picture if you're on YouTube. And guy says there's actually a difference between sprinkles and jimmies. I think it's the same, and those are chocolate sprinkles. What
Yeah.
do you call them, Rich? You call them jimmies or sprinkles?
I like, believe it or not, for the chocolate ones, I'll go with Jimmy's every time.
Really?
But the multicolor, I'll go with
Oh,
sprinkles.
it's
Yeah.
the same thing.
Do you want, Jimmy's or sprinkles? What do you want here? But I happen to love the chocolate Jimmy's, is what I've always called them. But I'll tell you what, I was at a couple local custard stands within the last month, and those Jimmy's or sprinkles, if you want to call them that, are expensive now. They're almost $1 extra
Really?
on
Oh,
top of your price. They started off with a quarter, which is fair enough. You get a couple sprinkles of them, maybe 50 cents. I'll go top, but now they're almost up to $1 in some places, and I think that's gouging.
that's a lot for jimmies.
Yeah, that's a heck of a lot of money. It's almost a third of the cost of certain ice creams. So you want
Yeah.
something good, you got to pay for it anymore at these ice cream stands. But
I'll tell you, you're almost better off going to the food store and getting a jar of them for yourself. I don't know what that
yeah,
would run, but yeah, you may be better off.
yeah, oh sure, in the long run. But you can't duplicate that nice, ice cream style store custard most of the time at home.
Yeah,
It-
I
but it
know.
goes well on ice cream for sure.
Yeah, yeah. Though there is at home custard makers now.
Okay. I'm sure with the
They're not,
advent of the coffee machines and the fancy ones that are out there, I'm sure it's probably pretty good.
we were looking at the you know at ice cream makers, and a lot of them that you find now are you have to put the bowl that comes with the unit
Uh-huh.
into the freezer and make sure it gets cold, and then you either can do it by hand, or they have certain units that'll whip it for you. You put it in and it whips it. It makes the ice cream. Um, we've yet to try it, but we will watching TV and saw a one unit that did the whole thing. You just poured in a mixture or whatever it is and
Very
turned it
cool.
on, and it did the machine. But it was awful small, so we didn't get that. But in our search then for ice cream makers, I came across a soft serve maker for the home. Now they could be quite expensive. I think this one came in though because it's for the home. It's scaled down. It's about $500. And the guy said that was testing it. The review that I saw, a couple of reviews said it was quite good. Just throwing it out there, folks. Maybe we should change the name of the show to Baseball and Ice Cream or something.
Well, we're taking a
What?
page out of that baseball barbecue podcast, and we're kicking it up a notch, going with
Yeah.
desserts. So guys, if
Yeah.
you're listening to the program, got to step it up a little bit. We're catching up with you.
Or maybe we should just do ballpark food show,
Yeah. Well, speaking of that, here's our home for the Baseball Talk Radio Show. It's at anchor.fm. And I'll hit this little button here and it'll show you the rest / Baseball Talk Radio Show. That's where you can go to hear all of our shows. You can listen on Spotify, support the show right through the website here. Just by clicking that link, you'll get 3 choices: 99 cents a month, $4.99 a month, or $9.99 per month. If you really like the show, you've been listening to us for a long time, we would love to have you on as a sponsor. So I'm going to put it out there. I'm looking for 3 sponsors this week before July 4th. So if you've listened to the show for a while, consider coming on board as a sponsor with us, and we'll greatly appreciate it. As you can see here, you can do Apple Pay if you're using that. Pay with a credit card. It's convenient and it's secure. So go to our website, anchor.fm/baseball talk radio show. It's all one word. And if you need a link to it, email me or Gary, rich@baseballtalkradio.com or gary@baseballtalkradio.com, and we'll send you the link. And it'll help further our show, get us some more goodies in-house. And next week, Gary, I'm going to bring up some stats. I know a lot of the listeners like to hear who's listening to the show, what kind of platforms they're using to listen in and watch us, of course, on YouTube. But love to have you as a sponsor. You could send us a message right through this portal as well. So check it out. You can send us a voicemail message right through that portal.
Oh, that's pretty cool. And take advantage of that, folks. And we'll be, we'll be happy to mention your name on the air as a sponsor, and maybe run it on the video version of it, so you get your people can see that you're a fan of the Baseball Talk Radio show. And you can also support us by going to our Patreon page at patreon.com/baseball talk, and help us out that way as well if you'd prefer that instead of Anchor. But either way would be grateful. And don't forget, go to YouTube and subscribe, because that helps us to build the community and to reach new listeners. So please do that if you would. So, Rich, I don't know if you heard about Mike Soroka of the Atlanta Braves. This is kind of a terrible story, but he tore his Achilles tendon, had it surgically repaired. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I did read that this morning. What a shame, it happens to these pitchers these days, and all kinds of players, not just pitchers, but tough break for him.
Yeah, and the tough break is that he retore the Achilles tendon walking into the clubhouse. He was starting his rehab, and he drove to the park. He said he was feeling better than he had in months driving to the park. He had a walking boot, had been removed like the day before, and he was looking forward to his rehab program. And as he walked from his car, entered the clubhouse, he felt a pop that caused him to scream as he fell to the ground. And an MRI showed a complete re-tear of the tendon. And what a shame. I mean, he tore it last August, had the surgery. Now to have to go through that again and miss another year, just a shame. And you wonder, is that a weak spot? Is that was the surgery not done correctly that this would happen? It just seems very strange that they did the surgery, and yet here almost a year later he re-tears it again.
Yeah, terrible situation for him. And I think back to Chris Sale, who pitches for the Boston Red Sox, signed a $145 million contract extension with them on March 23rd, 2019. Went on to have a bad record. Everybody knew something was wrong, and he had to have the Tommy John surgery. He's still not back.
Yeah.
And he's one of the best pitchers in baseball. So it's
terrible.
Tough spot. You never want your favorite player or, on your team to get that. Unfortunately, some of these guys are ending up with that due to whatever reason. But yeah, Sale comes to mind. Was one of the top pitchers in the league.
Yeah. just terrible. And the amount of injuries this year in Major League Baseball is just incredible. Teams with 14, 15 guys on a disabled list is unheard of in the past. And I really think it's because of last year's shortened season. And, I just think that we're past the 60 game amount already. And I don't know if guys were not ready or what, but the bodies are breaking down like crazy this year.
Yes, indeed. Tough situation, but we'll keep an eye on it for you here all season long on the Baseball Talk Radio Show. And Gary, I guess we're going to bring the turnstile down on this show. But again, it was a very fun show, and I hope everyone enjoyed our last roundtable with the Baseball and Barbecue guys, Len and Jeff, and hope to talk to them later in the season a little bit.
Yeah, hopefully, and go check them out and go listen to Rich's show, his Fighting Phillies talk show, and check that out if you're a Phillies fan or an NLE fan. And I hope while you're doing that, you'll check out my show, Mets Musings, at metsmusings.com. And I hope that you'll, if I may give myself a plug, I started a new golf show called Chip Shots. And I hope you will check that out at Gary Mack Golf on the YouTube. So if you please, we'd like to, do that as well. So if you're a golf fan and a baseball fan, just check us out. Gary Mack Golf is my show, and Rich has got his Phillies talk show. So go check them all out on YouTube and on your podcast. What do you call it, Rich? Broadcaster, aggregator. Yeah. Whatever you use to listen to a podcast, the Apple Castbox, what is some Google Play, whatever, you'll find us there.
Yes, indeed. Thanks for listening, everyone. You have a great week.
And we'll see you again next time on the Baseball Talk Radio Show.